Hey everyone, and welcome! Today we're going to unlock one of the most powerful concepts in all of programming, and that's how to make computers do all the hard, boring, repetitive work for us so we don't have to. All right, let's dive right in. You know that feeling, right? Like when you're copying and pasting the same thing or renaming 100 files one by one? Any of those tedious tasks that make you feel kind of like a robot? Well, the really cool thing about coding is that we can literally build the robots to do that work for us. But to do that, we first got to understand this whole idea of repetition from a computer's point of view. It's a problem that, luckily for us, has a really smart solution. So here's the core idea. A computer has zero problem doing the exact same thing a million times without getting tired or making a single mistake. We humans, on the other hand, well, we'd get bored, and we'd definitely start messing up. I mean, writing the same line of code 1,000 times isn't just inefficient, it's a recipe for disaster. So, how do we do it better? Well, there is a better way. Meet your new best friend in automation, the loop. In programming, we call these things repetition structures, and they are the absolute cornerstone for telling a computer to do something over and over again. So, what is a loop exactly? Well, you can think of it as a set of instructions that repeats a block of code as long as a certain condition is true. And that word, condition, that's the magic right there. It's the loop's on and off switch. The moment that condition is no longer true, the loop just stops. Now, there are a few different kinds of loops out there, and each one has its own special purpose. You'll see things like for loops a lot when you're counting through a specific number of items, but we're going to start with one of the most versatile and common ones, the while loop. It's a perfect place to start. Okay, let's break this down. A while loop always starts with the word while, followed by a condition, that's the test expression, inside parentheses. Now, this condition is what the loop checks before every single run. If it's true, the code inside the loop's body, which can be just one line or a whole block inside curly braces, gets to run. And that process just keeps repeating until the condition finally becomes false. But hang on. What if you're in a situation where you need to absolutely guarantee that your code runs at least one time, no matter what? For instance, maybe you need to show a user a menu of options before they can choose one. A regular while loop might not even run if its condition is false from the get-go. For that, we've got a special tool. And that tool is the do-while loop. See the difference in the structure here? The do part with the code block comes first. The while condition gets checked at the very end. And that simple switch has a huge effect. The code inside is guaranteed to run at least once. It's perfect for that menu example we were just talking about. Okay, so we know how to get loops started and how to stop them with a main condition, but what if we need even more control? What if something happens inside the loops that makes us need to change its behavior right then and there? For that, we've got two incredibly powerful commands, break and continue. Think of break as the big red emergency exit button. When your code hits break, it immediately just kicks you out of the loop. Done. Continue, on the other hand, is more like a skip button. It stops the current trip through the loop and just jumps right to the start of the next one. Let's look at a quick example. This code here is meant to add up even numbers. And see that while one? That means this loop wants to run forever. But check out that if statement. If the user types in an odd number, that break gets triggered, and the loop terminates instantly. It's our clean escape hatch. Now, check out this version that uses continue. The goal's the same, add up even numbers. But here, if the user enters an odd number, that continue statement runs. And what that does is it tells the program to skip everything else in this cycle. Specifically, it skips the part where it adds the number to the sum and just goes right back to the top to wait for the next number. The loop itself keeps on trucking. So we've got some really fine-tuned control over a single loop. But what if the problem you're trying to solve is layered? Like, what if you have one repetitive task that needs to happen inside another repetitive task? This is where things get really, really powerful. This is called a nested loop. And here's the key idea you have to get. For every one time the outer loop runs, the inner loop will run through its entire cycle from beginning to end. Just think of a clock. For every single tick of the minute hand, that's our outer loop, the second hand, our inner loop, has to tick a full 60 times. This diagram shows it perfectly. So the outer loop starts and does one step. For that one single step, the inner loop has to run completely, start to finish. Only when that's done can the outer loop move on to its second step, which then triggers the inner loop to run all over again. It's an amazing way to work with more complex data or create some really cool patterns. And yeah, this isn't just for lists of numbers. Nested loops are how you can create patterns, work with grids of information, or even draw shapes. In this example, one loop is controlling the rows, and the inner loop is controlling how many stars to print in each row. And what do you get? A perfect little triangle, all drawn with code. So cool. So we've really covered a lot of ground, huh? From the simple while loop all the way to the kind of mind-bending power of nested loops. This is a fundamental skill that turns simple instructions into really complex and useful programs. Let's just quickly recap what you can do now. You can automate all those boring tasks. You can process huge amounts of data, one piece at a time. You can create all sorts of complex patterns, and you can get super precise control over how your program runs using commands like break and continue. You've basically just unlocked a core part of any programmer's toolkit. So now it's your turn to actually put this into practice. Think about this for a second. How would you use a loop to create a conversion table that goes from kilometers per hour to miles per hour, say from 60 kph all the way up to 130? This is the exact kind of real-world problem that loops are perfect for solving. So give it a shot, and you'll really see just how powerful repetition can be.
Thanks for watching.